So I'm just gonna introduce myself. My name is Eddie Omega. I'm with Royal Alberta College. We're heading this project to try to teach students about budgeting. I have here with me today Tim Roden. Did I get it right?
Yep, yep.
Perfect. Tim, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
I've been teaching high school for over 20 years. I teach mathematics, some business education, some career and life management stuff. Over that course of those years, I've taught budgeting within various aspects of those. I do some accounting and bookkeeping on the side, so I understand the expenses and income and the effects of having a good budget.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds like you're the perfect guy to be talking to today.
Maybe not perfect, but I'll see what I can do.
Close enough, right? All right, perfect. So, we're gonna get into the meat of it. Budgeting. First topic we're gonna talk about is living on a budget. How does one live on a budget? More so, a student. How does a student live on a budget?
Uh, Budgeting is something that's hard for us to learn. It's important, but it's hard to learn. We get taught in school. I teach it. You may have been taught, and you get a simulated income and a simulated expenses, and then you do the budget. But it doesn't mean anything because there's no consequences. So it's one of those things we're taught in school, and it's like, oh, when am I ever going to need this? And we don't really pay attention to it.
Mhm.
It's important to understand how to do budgeting and how to live within a budget to meet your career goals, or not your career goals, or your financial goals, whether those are long-term, short-term. You want to travel, you want to save for school, you want to save for university, you want to buy a car. Budgeting allows us to meet those goals. We run into problems when our spending exceeds our income, and it's very easy to do. We run into problems with budgeting often because somebody tells us what our budget should look like, and it's an old guy like me telling you how to set up your budget when my life is completely different than your life. So part of the problem and your goal and your challenge is to create a budget that is yours and unique to you and that you can work with. Many budgets are based on one income a month or one paycheck a month based on one job. You get your bills at the end of the month and you pay it and you have some cash and you spend that extra cash. But that's not most of our realities. Many of you have multiple incomes. You're going to get those paychecks at different times in a month, and then you need to figure out how you're going to pay your expenses. Expenses come at the end of the month, in the middle of the month, and the best goal is to match your income with your expenses to make your life easy, not complicated. Budgeting is a habit, it's dynamic, it's an activity you need to do daily, weekly, monthly. A budget is reviewed and adjusted with your lifestyle changes, and it's a path that takes you where you want to be. It's part of something you incorporate in your life, and once you do that, then it helps you get you achieve the things you need. Setting a good budget is an essential step to achieving your goals. Many things in our world, global and individual, is a choice about what we spend money on, and just as important, what we're not going to spend our money on. Our goals can be short-term, long-term, small, large, essential, or luxury items. Goals can vary, but all goals have one thing in common. They're your goals specific to your reality. So make your budget yours.
Okay. Now, speaking specifically about students,
Yep.
how many students do you think budgeting is important to? Do you think a lot of students take budgeting seriously, or is this something that they just have to come across?
Well, I think budgeting is, I know when I was going to university, first many times, I didn't consider my budget at all. I just had money in, money out, and didn't give it any thought. Um, and budgeting was something that was foreign to me and something that I was never ever did and something that I actually was never taught in school. I don't think many students budget. Many students don't know how to budget. Many students have never budgeted. But if you think about it, you budget time. So budgeting time is similar to budgeting your money. You have things you must spend your time on. You need to sleep. You need to go to work. You need to go to school. Those are things that you must spend your time on. Budgeting is the same way. There's things you must spend your money on. And figuring out those musts and how much time I have left to go out with friends, how much money I have left to go out with friends are very similar concepts and tasks, but just have a different currency.
Oh, that's actually a great way to put it. I mean, it sounds obvious, but it's not something that you would think about on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, exactly.
very,
So,
very,
so the students watching this, you have budgeted. We just need to do it differently.
yes, yes, different ways of thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think makes it difficult for students to budget? Do you think it has to do with culture, or do you think it has to do with the individual?
Okay. Uh, I think what makes it difficult to budget for students is budgeting is often about what you can't do as opposed to what you can do. If you have a budget and you're out of money, you can't go out with your friends. If you have a budget and you don't have any more money, you can't buy the latest shoes you're looking for. So budgeting ends up being about a can't. And what we fail to consider is it's saying no now so we can achieve more later. And that is the essential. Is budgeting is about what you can't do more than what you can do. But if you view your budget differently and then you budget in reverse, this is now the money I have. What can I do with this money? As opposed to I don't have any money, I can't. So it's how we spend our income rather than not having the income to do what we want. So it's an
Oh,
approach in how we look at it.
okay. The reason I asked that question is because some ethnic backgrounds, you would say, are more prone to budgeting for their kids, or show their kids how to budget.
Yeah.
Uh, some backgrounds don't necessarily take that as a high priority, so they essentially do the budgeting for the kids, and then when the kids run into trouble, they're on their own.
Yeah. In the West, we're in a consumer based environment where it's spend, 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 as opposed to save, save, save. So yes, there'd be definitely some cultural implications to that. Saving money for the future is more important for some people than others. So yes, there'd be definitely some cultural influence on our abilities to budget and our experiences with budgeting.
Mm, okay.